welcome our first guest, famous designer Kamali Mehta. Kamali studied fashion at Delhi's prestigious Pearl Academy, but as she will tell you, her interest in fashion started way before that.
And I've told you
In
this,
2000,
is you keep redefining yourself, molding yourself with every new venture.
With each other.
And
And I feel that clothing should be an expression of your personality on a day-to-day basis, not just on those special days of your life. It was also one of my biggest dreams. I always wanted to make clothing which was comfortable, which helped women feel confident and healthy. I was a housewife, and not just an ordinary housewife, a housewife probably in Europe who attended ballroom dances and dressed
wow,
up in
fairy tale.
things just fell into place. I fell in love with the concept of change, with the concept of transformation, of how, when I went on a Monday, I saw this ton of fabric, and by Friday, it had converted into a garment.
but this journey is not that easy, is it? I mean, no journey is. So I'm sure you faced a lot of challenges. What was your biggest personal challenge?
So when I did decide to actually start my own business, they were very, very skeptical. They were not happy about it because I don't come from a business background. I'm somebody who always takes failure as a learning experience. So she booked an exhibition, and at that time, Olive was very popular. The kind of crowd that they attracted was the kind of crowd that we wanted to cater to. So we booked a stall, and I worked very, very hard to go there. And Dad bumped into a lot of his friends there. But next morning when he woke up, he said, if they're buying from you, then you must be doing something right. And my clothes were more oriented towards Bridal Asia. So Bridal Asia is an exhibition. And they contacted me next day. And they said, we want you to be part of our exhibition. And I was like, what?
Ye le paise, go. DDLJ moment. Ja Kamali ja. Ji le apni zindagi. And then Bridal Asia contacts you. So you really flourished from that point on, right? I mean, that was...
And every event was one step closer to my end goal. I, to be honest, don't even know what the end goal is because I am enjoying every day, every moment of what I do. So as long as people like my stuff, as long as I like what I do, I think that's my mini goal for every day.
That's good.
Bhavna is a globally trained fitness expert and holistic health coach with over 20 years of experience in health and wellness. Bhavna obtained her doctorate in physical education at a time when parents told their daughters to study humanities or science, while physical education was a more boy-centric field. Bhavna, what is it about this pink hair that you're carrying? What is the story behind it?
Yeah, I copied my daughter.
Like hair flaunted, Bhavna. Okay. Most moms would be yelling at the kids like for coloring their hair, and you're saying, "Hey, save me some color," So it's pretty cool. Oh, mom, you're a PhD in physical education, right? So that's a big deal. What inspired you to do such an advanced degree in this field? What did you do?
My father inspired me. So the story is that he wanted me to be the doctor. And I was not interested in dissection, blood, and all the stuff doctors do. But I was very much interested in the physical self, the body, from what it looks like from outside, the physical health, mental well-being. At that time, I didn't know that there was any subject like physical education also. All we knew was arts, commerce, and science. So this PhD is my gift to my father, who made sure I completed it and I got a doctorate in front of my name.
And I'm sure you must have faced gender bias while studying this in college.
I'd never faced gender bias. However, there were different rules for girls' hostel and boys' hostel. So many people feel like physical education as a course means only playing on the field or learning sports, but it's much more than that. Imagine how amazing it is to know what moves inside your body when you move. And I have never regretted choosing physical education as a profession. In fact, it has become my passion, and with each passing day, I feel more grateful for being in this field.
Dr. Meenakshi Ahuja, well-known gynecologist and obstetrician. She has chaired several sessions in various gynecological forums and is a renowned personality in local and international circuits. She has been awarded the Pratibha Tiwari Golden Medal for her achievements as the best resident.
I think if you're doing what you love, it just comes from within, I love my profession. Sometimes, in fact, my kids say that you love your patients more than you love us. But I actually am blessed to be part of so many people's lives and being able to make that small little difference without really trying.
We are young, and so did you have a aha moment when you realized that you wanted to be a doctor and that to a gynecologist?
My parents are both doctors. My father was director professor of medicine. My mother's a doctor. So my mas, the uncles, everyone is a doctor at home. So it was almost like a no-brainer that I would be a doctor. At that time, probably everyone would like to go to a male surgeon. And he said, despite being a topper and doing so well in college, you will always feel that you're not using your full potential because you're in surgery, because everyone prefers a male surgeon. And that gynecology was a good mixture of surgery and medicine. And medicine, where every day is happier than the previous one.
Wow.
Wow. No, well, you're a class apart when it comes to positivity anyway. And I remember when we were growing up, when our mothers even told us about our periods, it was so hush hush, ab ye hoega tumhare sath, whatever. And it was a taboo to discuss it. But nowadays, you can't even imagine telling the kids you can't do this and can't do that. But
I still have women who come to me when they're married and with kids, and they'll say they're going for a religious tour or a pilgrimage, or they have some festival in their house which has a puja, and they would come to me for delaying their periods. So I always tell them, if you want to delay your period for a beach holiday, I can still understand. But it is very unfair if you do this for this. Because if you, like I said, you have to be the change you want to see in your lives. Unfortunate circumstances that girls get into trouble because they are not aware, because the information is not available to them. And they don't know where to reach out, which is actually the tragedy of our circumstances. But that, 30 years back, I agree with you that it was hush-hush. The times have changed. I've had girls who are unmarried, who are pregnant, and who have come with their mothers. So what I'm trying to say is that's a mindset change in the minds of women, that they're ready to accept. And also for the youngsters to understand that the most important thing here is safety. We're more than happy to do it.
That's excellent.
Because one has to understand that it's not a women thing. It's a human body, it's physiological, and everyone should be able to talk about it and converse about it.
Situation, with our health. But shouldn't we be more proactive? Like, how often should women be coming to see you, Meenakshi?
People come to us for a pre-conception counseling. I'm talking about normal, healthy women, right? Then they come for contraceptive advice. And once you've had your child and everything, anyway, if you have been sexually active for 3 years or you're over 30, you have to come for your pap smear every year. Also, you need to learn how to do a breast self-examination. You must get your cervical cancer vaccination shots. Once you're 35, we like to do a breast ultrasound and a pelvic ultrasound, even if everything's okay. And from the time you turn 40, it's very important to come for your regular annual checkup, where men get 2 years as prescribed by the doctor. Your internal examination, your annual pap smear, your ultrasound, which needs to be done. So that needs to be done, and your supplements. So from 40, you are regularly on some sort of supplements, maybe vitamins, calcium, vitamin D. And
Taranjeet Kaur. Taranjeet is a woman who has roared ahead in life, despite some curveballs and obstacles which she had to face. She persevered and succeeded. Taranjeet is a clinical nutritionist and senior nutrition trainer working with the Active Health.
How did you get into nutrition?
I did appear for several MBBS exams, but couldn't get through. So I'm not a doctor today, but I thank God for that today when I'm a nutritionist, because I feel I have more power to myself, that I can treat people with good food.
That's wonderful.
So, So earlier, we do get, sad or feel that, things are not according to my will and wishes. So I truly believe in that, as Amitabh Bachchan quotes his father, जो मन का हुआ वो अच्छा, जो मन का नहीं हुआ वो और भी अच्छा. Fearless about the side effects. It's just the positive vibration, the positive standout that I kind of share with people, helping them understand their food better, their lifestyle better, and get them be good without going into surgeries and medication. Or there is a saying, and I also feel personally, the more we grow, we are fixated into our thought process. As we mature, there is a clear line. And what after my daughters, I just one day, while the younger one was about 1.5 years old, that I sat down and just looked back to the books that I'd been buying, and they were all about food and nutrition. And that was the point where I thought that, okay, no, I need to, kind of do more on this and, kind of explore this. Maybe this is my calling. And
obviously you've achieved a lot in your career. So what advice can you give young women who want to do something professionally or outside the house with the thought of like the balance? How did you create that balance? Like that's what you were
prioritizing what you wish to do.
Did you ever have faced any gender bias? I mean, in your personal life or
maybe one instance when I had gone for a conference that where I wanted to speak about the research, and the answer that I got from the leading doctors from that field, that if you don't have connections in ministry or the higher government strata, where are you going to take your study and implement it? So I said, why are we doing studies where we are trying to find out how much cholesterol in the society when we aren't going to make some policies for that?
We want to tell our viewers, how do you stay positive and get up and help people?
It's always said that if you were lucky, if you get to have your passion as your job.
Right.
Yeah. The moment these two are clubbed, then I don't think there's any tiredness or so.
Our guest is a social worker, an artist, a singer, and a radio jockey. Her work has been dedicated to helping the real artists in rural India. She is really proud of her heritage, and we love that. Please welcome Meenakshi Ahuja.
रेडियो पंचायत जो एक यूनिक फोक चैनल जो आपने शुरू किया, इसकी इंस्पिरेशन आपको कैसे मिली?
बिल्कुल, रेडियो पंचायत एक डिजिटल रेडियो चैनल है जो आप प्ले स्टोर से डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं, और इस पे आप पूरे भारत का हर कहना चाहिए कि हर स्टेट के आप संगीत का, हर स्टेट की मिट्टी की सौंधी खुशबू का आप आनंद ले सकते हैं।
क्या आप कैसे इंस्पायर हुए आप ये चैनल शुरू करने के लिए? मनीषा,
12-13 साल गुजार लेते हो, क्योंकि मेरा रेडियो बैकग्राउंड है। मैं एक एफएम स्टेशन में रेडियो जॉकी थी, फिर उसके बाद प्रोग्रामिंग हेड थी। तो मैंने रियलाइज किया कि कहीं ना कहीं बॉलीवुड के प्रभाव के कारण तो फोक म्यूजिक पीछे छूट जाता है, लेकिन बहुत सारे आर्टिस्ट ऐसे हैं जिनको लोगों के सामने आना बहुत जरूरी है। शायद एक छोटी सी इंस्पिरेशन यही थी, और फिर उसके बाद काम चालू हो गया कि लोग और भी ऐसी चीजें सुनना चाहते हैं जिससे हम दूर हो रहे हैं। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, जो हमारे रीति रिवाज थे, अगर आप ध्यान दें तो कोरोना में लोग वापस से अपने कहानी किस्सों में खोए हैं, क्योंकि उन्हें ये समझ में आया है कि सिर्फ पैसे के लिए, अपनी जरूरतों के लिए भागते दौड़ते रहने के बीच में कहीं एक ऐसा स्पेस होना चाहिए जहां वो अपनी चीजों को, अपनी यादों को, अपने बड़े बुजुर्गों को सहेज सके, उनकी बात सुन सके। वही कहूंगी कि बाजार ने हमारी अच्छी चीजों को भी छुड़वा दिया। बाजार के प्रभाव ने, जो प्रोडक्ट हैं, उन्होंने हमारी जो बेसिक बहुत अच्छी चीजें थी उनको भी छोड़ने पर मजबूर कर दिया। तो फिर वही नीम लौट कर आया, फिर वही पीपल के पेड़ लौट के आए, और फिर वही बहुत सारे पौधे हम सबने घर में लगाए जो हमें बहुत ऑक्सीजन देते थे। तो क्यों ना जो लाइफस्टाइल हमें सच में ऑक्सीजन देती है, हम उसकी तरफ चले। यही एक सोच है। उन रूल्स पे बातें हुई जिन्हें हमारे बुजुर्ग फॉलो करने को कहते हैं, लेकिन हमें लगता है अरे नहीं, इसमें स्वैग नहीं है पाएंगे, और हमें उनकी बातें सुनकर अपना भी कुछ जोड़ना चाहिए, लेकिन हमेशा नजरअंदाज नहीं करना चाहिए। हम भले ही स्लो जा रहे हैं पर अपनी शर्तों के साथ जा रहे हैं, और जिनके पास स्टूडियोज नहीं है, जो रिकॉर्ड नहीं कर पा रहे हैं अभी, हम उनके पास जाकर भी अब रिकॉर्डिंग का, जब कुछ लोगों ने हमें अपने म्यूजिक रिकॉर्ड खुद भेजे थे। इसमें छोटी छोटी कंपनी होती है, म्यूजिक कंपनी, जो रीजनल आर्टिस्ट को रिकॉर्ड करती है। बुंदेलखंड में एक आल्हा गायन होता है, बहुत कम लोग जानते हैं, लेकिन जब आप उसे सुनते हैं तब आपके रोंगटे खड़े हो जाते हैं कि लोगों ने क्या किया है इस देश के लिए, लोगों ने क्या किया है अपने मिट्टी के लिए। क्योंकि वो एक संजू बघेल है जो आल्हा गाती है, मैं उनका नाम इसलिए ले रही हूँ क्योंकि जब वो अपने कहीं स्टेज पे परफॉर्म करती हैं तो भीड़ लग जाती है। बुंदेलखंड में बहुत सारे गाने प्रचलित हैं, लेकिन एक गीत जो अभी मैंने सुना था वो साक्षरता गीत था। उस गीत के बोल ये थे कि गिन गिन के कर रही हिसाब, दुल्हनियां पढ़ी लिखी हैं। और उसमें आगे वो कहते हैं कि ससुरा की बीड़ी छूटी, देवर का हुक्का और जेठा की छूटी शराब, दुल्हनियां पढ़ी लिखी है। ननदी का चुट्टा छूटा, चिट्ठी का चूल्हा, सबके हाथों में किताब, दुल्हनियां पढ़ी लिखी है। मुझे लगता है लोकगीत ना बहुत आसानी से, बिना किसी रौब के, बिना किसी मतलब कहते हैं कि हर बात को एक उसके साथ रखना कोई फॉर्मेलिटी नहीं है, बड़ी आसानी से अपनी बातें रख देते हैं लोग। मतलब मुझे तो लगता है हम इंग्लिश काम में कई बार आप इतना डूब जाते हो कि आपको लगता है छोड़ो अपने घर गृहस्थी की धर्मशाला क्या रखा है, चलो इन्हीं लोगों के साथ आगे बढ़ते हैं।
Welcome her. And congratulations on all of your and your son's achievements.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And what says about Trinity, that actually says for children with autism, once they put their heart onto something, they do it to perfection.
So let's start with you telling us a little bit about yourself, your journey, and we want to know how you went from a computer engineer to a specialist.
My whole journey has been like unexpected twists and turns. When I started off, I did engineering in electronics, and when I did that time, electronics students were not allowed to even touch the computers, because there were only 5 computers in the entire college. So in the campus interviews, after we finished our engineering, then by chance TCS came. Somebody said, just go, hona to hai nahi, you just go and try it out, because anyway you're not qualified. I was like, yeah, true. Wow. They kept on interviewing, they could not find. So finally they said, okay, chalo, jo non-computers wale hain, unko we take up as just a GK test kind of,
Wow.
And in the GK test, we scored really high. So finally, when our interview was done, it was almost like, okay, so what does your mother do? What does your father do? Okay, we will be training you because you don't know anything about computers. And that's how I started off. And so 12 years I was in software with different companies. And then after I had my daughter, one day I went to pick her up and she said, Mama, like other mothers will be coming to pick me up now. So I said, for some years I need to do that, So I shifted to teaching that time just because I wanted to have flexible timings. And then when I was with DPS, I worked with DPS Agra for 2 years. And that time, I used to see a lot of children anyways, who you could make out were finding it really difficult to cope up. Environment, every day the child is getting scolded and the child is getting punished. And so you could make out the difference actually. You could feel the difference in those children that they were trying, but they were really not getting it through. And then Anish was born, and I was working with DPS that time. But then by 2.5, we started noticing a lot of signs. Like he would not even look up when we called him. He would not look at our pointers. There were times when he would cry throughout the day, and we could just not make out what was it that he was trying to say. And then we started getting worried because we were like, it's not working out. Something is wrong somewhere. My husband. And then obviously denial at first, you keep saying, ki nahi, hota hai, this person also talked late and this happened late and that person used to do this. But what we fail to understand is if the single child is getting all the features, then it's an issue. We generally take one feature from one child, another from another. He talked late, he interacted late, he started recognizing numbers late. If all the points are falling under one child, then I think as parents, we should look up. And that time, doctors were also not very aware. So even when I was telling the doctor something was wrong, they would not accept it at all.
Wow,
really?
No,
That's
they
a
would not.
real struggle.
Even after, so I had to take him to Bangalore, I was like, it's not working out because the days were going by. So from Agra all the way we went to Bangalore. And there I would say experience of the doctor counts a lot, because there as soon as we entered NIMH and we were waiting and the doctor entered and he just looked at him for 5-6 minutes and he turned to me and said, have you ever heard about autism? And I was like, I was always suspecting it, but the kind of experience. And 1 year I kept on telling the doctor in Agra that something was wrong. And I think we wasted that 1 year. We did waste that 1 year. We could have started earlier. So experience and expertise, but after that it was a good journey. I met all good people. I met all wonderful support system I had people who actually helped me every day, every second. No regrets after that. It's been a good journey and it's been a very successful journey and very satisfying. Now when we look back, we wouldn't have wanted it any other way.
So how did Soham Learning Foundation came into existence?
But Soham happened, for a very different reason, because like I said, when I was taking Anish, there were speech centers and they were charging for 10 sessions at a go, 20 sessions at a go. And after the very first session, I would realize this is not going to work out. Time was the most critical that time. So I always had in mind that when I make my setup, there would be no holding fees for anybody. It would be like once you finish, you pay. If you don't like the session, don't pay. Because
as far as your teaching, so commercially we know how you're different. As far as teaching goes, how are you different than other special needs educators?
I'm traveling so much. But I was always told that the child will not work in front of you. And that was something which really I could not accept it. That if the child is not able to work in front of me and a child who doesn't speak, I don't know what you've done with the child. If I don't teach it again at home, we are here today. How will it? So Soham again is with two very different principles. One is that money thing, we just don't get into it. Second is we always make parent partners. So we always make sure that the parent is there. Whether I'm taking or my therapist is telling you, I'm lucky to have parents who believed. I'm lucky to have met teachers or mentors who also guided me in the right way. And
Akshita, you are a Wonder Woman. I mean, for me, honestly. And I think a lot of mothers whom I know, who knows you, would say the same thing for you.
So I cannot actually go out and accept or expect that kind of, tolerance. I can obviously expect pity.
Correct.
And do not expect acceptance from everyone. It is difficult in the society, We don't.
Right.
But I do accept tolerance, and I feel अपनी society उतनी है कि tolerate करती है. इतने बुरे भी लोग नहीं होते. मतलब I generally feel people are good, but उनकी अपनी limitations. People did not accept. And second thing is, if you are comfortable with your child, सामने वाला automatically is comfortable.
So as a society, what do you suggest? How can we all contribute for helping specially abled kids and adults? Do you have a message?
As a society, I think we all need to open up for everybody, not just special needs. Same thing we do for our children, and that is what I tell the teacher. Don't think that autism है इसलिए ऐसा करेगा. Don't think कि autism है इसलिए ये इसको हिलना allowed है. Don't think कि autism है इसलिए ये bite कर सकता है. No. Autism doesn't tell you to bite. Autism just tells you that you have a difficulty in social interaction, communication, and imagination. The rest all, environment has taught them.
Miss Priya Dutt. Yes. Many of us know Priya is the daughter of the legendary Srimati Nargis and Shri Sunita ji. Priya Dutt is multi-talented and has been a member of parliament for 2 terms. She was a member of parliament for 2 terms. She's a trustee of the Nargis Dutt Foundation, a social activist, along with being a full-time mom and a wife, and an entrepreneur.
Same, yeah.
As a member,
So, Priya, let's start from your own inspiration.
Because so many
You
people
have
ask me and have asked me, who is your hero? Everyone has a hero, and I am so fortunate to say that my hero was my father. And he was my greatest inspiration. He was, I think, my guide, my father, my everything. And I'm so proud to say that. And because I think who I am today is because of him. He led the kind of by the way he was. It was like, and he used to always say that, this is my advice to you if you ask, but the decision will be yours.
wow.
And I think that was the first time I really experienced it, was during the
Under a
Padyatra.
rock, let's tell them a little bit about this Padyatra.
Yes, I know not many people know of it right now.
Yeah.
But not many, especially the newer generation doesn't know anything about it.
Yeah, so let's start talking about that since the younger generation doesn't.
Yeah. So connect to that. So my father was, a great patriot and always believed in the Gandhian way, and said, you know what, I'm going to go and walk from Mumbai to Punjab. So he made his whole little plan, got few people together, and they chalked out the route and everything, and organized this Padyatra. And everybody laughed. Okay, everybody said, have you gone crazy, kind of thing? You're going to be walking from Mumbai to Punjab, and and I don't know what happened to me. And I said, you know what, Bhaiya, I called my brother Bhaiya. I think I'm also going to go with Papa, like my father. So I said, I got after it. I called my dad in the night and I said, Dad, I also want to come. So he said, why do you want to why do you want to bunk your college? That's why you're coming. You don't want to give your exams. So now if you say that you're going to be coming with me, there's no turning back from here. Like halfway you say, no, I'm tired and all, I can't take this anymore. So that was another lesson I learned, right? Commitment. So when you say something, you must be committed to that. You must be able to see it through. And that's where that journey of the Padyatra started. And it was a 78-day journey from here to Amritsar, right? It was on a shoestring budget because there was nothing, and it was completely non-political. And we all were assigned our duties. I was the person in charge of food and medicine for everyone and on in the journey. And we had a truck behind with a cook and groceries. And that's how our journey went on. And it was beautiful because then we'll see what happens. We are not bothered about, ये कोई आ रहा है, वो अपने बारे में कुछ लिख रहा है कि नहीं.
Yeah.
Because people didn't take it seriously.
Yeah, and it was such a selfless act, right?
But this opened my eyes to so many things of what our country really is, But that time nobody knew who was walking. Then word of mouth spread कि एक आदमी चल रहा है सद्भावना के लिए, for peace. Okay? But who is walking? Nobody knew. And these instances happened.
Phenomenal.
It's very humbling, and I think it was beautiful, because that when people genuinely come to see your work of what your beliefs are and why are you doing this, not to see an actor or to see a famous personality, they're actually coming for what you're really, your purpose is. And the press started taking us a bit seriously when we reached Indore. It was quite amazing, yeah. And another thing I want to say, I was the only girl.
Really? So how did that change you?
Yeah.
What was your biggest takeaway from this? Like, how did you change in that 78 days?
I think it grounded me. It grounded me in so many ways. I think it made me appreciate so many things that I had, and I think that's also where I felt the need of giving back, and why can't we do so?